Welcome back inside Studio A. Trailblazer Weekly marches on this Wednesday afternoon, and we are talking basketball. To the hardwood we go. The ball is bouncing. You can hear the shoes squeaking inside the Burns Arena as the Trailblazers head up to Westminster College last weekend and get 2 wins. One of them a thrilling overtime victory to go 2-0 in the opening weekend. Joining us on the show today is a big part of that 2-0 start up in Salt Lake City. It's senior guard Jack Pagenkopf. Jack, thanks so much for taking time on your busy schedule to be with us today. Lots of preparation going on for the home openers this weekend, but let's talk about last weekend. Again, thanks so much for being here, and we'll just dive right into it because it's the elephant in the room, and you're expecting us to bring it up anyway. On Saturday, you just, as the tweet said on the official Dixie Athletics account, you just messed around and went and got the first triple-double of the Division II era here at Dixie State. So congratulations. And, of course, anytime you talk about a triple-double, the first question is, did you know you were getting close? Did you know how many assists, how many rebounds? Take us through your mind as kind of the game's winding down, and then as you find out that you did indeed complete the triple-double.
Well, first off, thanks for having me on the show. And I knew I was kind of close. I was checking the stat sheet in the first half, so I knew I had like 5 assists somewhere around the midpoint. I was like, there might be a chance where I can get 10 tonight. As far as rebounds, I felt like I was rebounding well. The night before, I think I had 11, so I was like, I'll probably be over 10 rebounds. But the assists were always like kind of like, I had 7 the night before, so I was like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. But then when it went into overtime, I was kind of like, yeah, there might be a chance for this.
So were you not sure until the game had actually ended, or did you got your 10th assist in overtime? I mean, did you know then when you dished that assist out that, hey, that's what I needed and we got it?
I didn't know it was that assist. I didn't know until I went to the locker room and my mom had texted me and was like, congrats on the triple-double. I was like, oh, I had a triple-double. And then Juddy told us after the game too. So that's when I really figured it out.
We're chatting with men's basketball senior guard Jack Pagenkopf here at Trailblazer Weekly, and he just went out and got the first triple-double in the Dixie State NCAA Division II era against UT Tyler Saturday night. And of course, you get the points, you get the rebounds, you get the assists. You mentioned your rebounding. I just wanted to bring it up. It seemed like as I went back and I've watched some of that film, it was a lot of kind of catch-and-run rebounds almost, long rebounds, get those rebounds and then start racing back up the floor. And a lot of those plays, you had rebounds on one end and then you had assists or scored on the other end, and just captaining and running that offense. And just talk about being involved in all facets of the game and not just scoring, but rebounding and getting others involved as well.
Yeah, well, I try to get the ball and just go immediately. So if I can rebound it, we don't waste time like getting the outlet pass or stuff like that. So it just puts more pressure on the defense if I can just immediately get it. Nobody's guarding me. I mean, if I got the rebound, nobody's on me, so I can just take it, go up the floor, and then usually 2 people have to come guard me, so then I could dish it off for an assist. So kind of 2 for 1 right there.
17 points, 10 assists, 13 rebounds in that victory this last weekend. Take me a little bit through. Obviously, you realized after the game in the locker room, you said Coach Judkins mentioned it, right? What was the reaction from your teammates? I mean, I'm sure there was a little bit of teasing, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of stuff like that going. What was kind of the reaction from your teammates as you found out that you got the triple-double?
I think they were as surprised as I was, but they were happy for me. They were like, they weren't teasing me too much, but it was kind of fun. They were like, oh, you got triple-double, stuff like that. But I think they were happy we just won overtime game.
And that's what I was just going to say. I mean, obviously, you're excited about the stats of the triple-double, and that's obviously exciting and a tremendous accomplishment. But you, I'm sure, would take the 2 wins over anything else, and you get the wins over Texas A&M Commerce, 71-66, and then, of course, over UT Tyler in overtime, 100-91. You start the season 2-0. How is it just to get off to a good start in the season? Obviously, you go up there, you get a couple of good wins. A team that's got a lot of different faces, a lot of new people, a lot of different parts, and things like that. As you kind of learn together and build chemistry, just how good of a feeling is it to know that you got the first 2 wins under your belt in the first two games of the season?
2-0 is huge, because if we're sitting here at 1-1, we'd feel completely different right now. 500 and undefeated are 2 different feelings, but. As far as like new players go, everybody's blended pretty well. I mean, we all get along, so that helps a lot when we're playing out there. It's just so much easier to figure out where everybody's at when you just like have a feel for people already. And I think we've meshed pretty well, especially with a close game like this. We kind of we didn't feel like we were disconnected at all. We were all on the same page, which if we weren't, I don't think we would have made it go into overtime or even won.
Chatting with Dixie State senior guard Jack Pagenkopf. And go back to that Saturday game that you had the triple-double in. There's another big part of that game. You went 1 for 4 from beyond the arc in that game, and the one three-point shot that you hit was a pretty important one. It was a game that, and I was talking to Coach Judkins a couple of days ago as well, and he said, it's kind of interesting because we felt like we probably could and should have lost Friday night, and then we definitely felt like we should have won the game Saturday night, and then that one got away from us in the second half, and you guys had to come back and force overtime. You're down 3. There's under 10 seconds to go. You're walking the ball up the floor, and you hit the game-tying three-pointer to send it to overtime. Walk us through that play. What's going through your mind? I mean, was that the design? Because you put that 3 up with a good 4 or 5 seconds still on the clock. Is that what I don't know if it was that a timeout or what it was out of. Was that what was drawn up, or did you just see some opening and thought, hey, I can knock this thing down?
So it wasn't drawn up at all. What we were gonna do is we were gonna have Hunter Schofield come set like a high ball screen. I was gonna come off of it and then look to either get to the rim or shoot a 3 if I had an open 3. Because there were 10 seconds left, we could have fouled if I had gotten a 2. But the kid who was shooting free throws at the other end made the first one, but it wasn't very confident. So when he missed the second one, I think I was talking to Andre. He was like, I thought he was going to miss the second one because the first one looked shaky. When he missed the second one, we were only down 3. I was like, all right, we can tie it up with a 3, or I can go for a 2. But if there's not much time left and we're down 1, it might be risky. So I kind of decided, I was like, I'm probably going to shoot a 3 coming down. And then I saw the guy guarding me he was gonna switch the screen because he had looked away from me. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to pull up because nobody's guarding me here. So it was a little deep, but
that was my next question. It was, I think, again, we're going back to that Twitter account. Drayson and I were in the Denver area over in Golden for the football game Saturday night, and so we were just following as best we could, trying to watch the stream and watching the Twitter updates as they came along. And that's what the Twitter update said, was that Jack Pagenkopf hit a NBA range 3 to send the game to overtime. I mean, when you're shooting those 3s, are you thinking, oh, I'm out here pretty deep, or you're just thinking, I've got some space, I've got enough time and enough space to get this 3 up?
Well, the deeper I am, the less I think about it, because I'm like, I got to get it up and I got to get it out to the rim. So I just like got my legs under me, and I was in rhythm too. So when you're in rhythm, you don't think about it too much. And at the end of the game, I was kind of in the zone.
Now, obviously, you get the 2 wins under your belt on the road up there in Salt Lake City over the weekend, and now you turn things right around and come back this weekend and host your own tournament of your own here in the Burns Arena in Dixie State. What's it like just kind of being able to say, hey, we got those 2 wins, and now the season moves forward? Obviously, you're not in RMAC play yet, but still got a lot to tune up as far as the season goes. What's it going to be like to come home and get your first couple of games with this home crowd under you?
I think it's going to be good being at home. We won 2 tough ones on the road, and it's harder to win on the road. So if we're in a tight situation at the Burns, I think it'll be easier to pull it out on our home floor. We're all more familiar with shooting there, so I think it's going to be fun. But it'll still be a challenge.
And one thing I mentioned that I wanted to kind of touch back on is that a team with some new faces, and then obviously you're a senior leader of that team, and just talk a little bit about how you guys are being able to develop chemistry. Talk a little bit about Coach John Judkins, because he's done this for up to an amount of years and is able to put a competitive product on the field year in and year out. I guess I should say the court, not the field, but he puts a competitive team on the court every single season, regardless of who he has. So talk a little bit about what he's been able to do for these newer guys, these newer faces, some of these guys that have not played for him. What's he been able to do for this team so far?
Juddy's been really good. I think with all the guys coming in, I was like them last year. It was my first year. So the stuff he puts in, he makes it kind of simple to figure out at first. So it's not like you just get hit with a bunch of like stuff that you got to remember, and then you don't know what, you can't focus. He makes it simple at first, and we start adding stuff on, so it all makes sense when it comes together. And I think that's huge, especially for new guys, because now you're not overwhelmed with remembering like a ton of sets or out of bounds plays or stuff like that, because we switch up defenses all the time. You don't have to worry about remembering them, because he just puts them in such a way that it just all makes sense. The next layer's on top of it, and it just layers up until at the end of the year, you're like, how do I know all these things without even having to think about it? So, and he makes practice competitive too. So if practice wasn't as competitive as has been, I don't know if he would have been as good in these games, because down to the wire, you got to really compete.
He is Dixie State senior guard Jack Pagenkopf, and he's joining us after a triple-double, the first triple-double in the NCAA Division II era for this men's basketball program. Dixie State goes 2-0. And then, oh, by the way, Jack Pagenkopf yesterday named RMAC Offensive Player of the Week. So congratulations about that, Jack. Let's continue to chat here about this year's team. Obviously, some seniors graduate. They finished their eligibility. A couple of guys that were going to be key returners for one reason or the other, that they decide that there's more to life than just basketball, and you credit them for that, because it certainly is that way. And next thing you know, you've got 8 or 9 or close to 10 new guys coming in this year. What's the dynamic been through the first, through the conditioning, through the first couple of weeks of practice, up through the first couple of games, just trying to get used to each other and trying to get comfortable and build that chemistry out on the floor with this new team this year?
Yeah, the dynamic, it's actually been really good. It's been smooth for a new team like this. I think coming in, especially in preseason conditioning, everybody got the mindset of you have to work hard. You're going to get left behind if you don't. So once everybody was on the same page as far as that, it just made it so much easier to really get into the flow of playing games, because if everybody's working towards the same thing, it's kind of hard to not figure it out at a certain point. And I think it's still early, but we've definitely started to figure it out, especially this weekend. It felt like we were figuring it out.
Of course, if there's one coach and coaching staff that can do it, it's head coach John Judkins. He's done this a number of times. It seems like there's really no rebuilding years. It's just reload and let's go and let's battle for the conference title. Jack, I want to talk about you a little bit. You're senior, obviously. This is your senior year. Hometown of Brooklyn, New York. You played junior college ball in Texas. High school ball in Kansas City. I think a question that we have, and then probably a lot of people when they come watch and see you play and they're looking at that program and that roster, they see hometown of Brooklyn, New York, and they say, how does this kid end up at Dixie State, way out west? So that's the question. How do you end up at Dixie State? What's that story, and what made you want to come here and be a Trailblazer?
So pretty much, it's not a crazy story or anything. Assistant coach here last year, Jeremiah Barnes, was recruiting me out of Howard in Texas, and it seemed like I talked to him almost every day. He was calling me, so I developed a good relationship with him, and he kind of told me about the type of coaching staff they had here, and they were similar towards the way he treated players and how he coached players, and it just seemed like something I want to be a part of. I mean, he's not here now, but it's still the same way, still the same type of culture, so I'm glad I came out here. I think it was the right decision.
Speaking with senior guard Jack Pagenkopf of the men's basketball team, as we continue live on a Wednesday afternoon, and Jack, let's talk a little bit about some of your personal goals, and in conjunction with some of the team goals you guys have for this season. Obviously, the last season in Division II and last season in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, and I know that won't necessarily affect you past this year being a senior, but we've talked to a lot of student athletes on this show, a lot of coaches on this show, and some of them upperclassmen, some of them underclassmen, and the seniors are in the boat, much like you, of saying, hey, I got one more year. It doesn't matter. Division I doesn't matter to me because I won't be around to see that, and so this is your kind of send out. What some of your kind of goals as a team? Obviously, you want to be able to win the RMAC, but what are you going to try to be able to do to accomplish your goals this season and the team goals as well?
I think we all want to win the RMAC. We want to win the RMAC tournament too if we can, especially if we can host it, and then make a push in the tournament. As far as my goals for doing that, I just want to be able to run the team, be a good point guard. So we're all on the same page so we can win close games like we did this weekend, because there's going to be a lot of close games playing back-to-backs. So I think if I can keep doing that, keep getting everybody on the same page and spreading the ball around, we're going to be fine.
The Dixie State men's basketball team picked to finish second in their Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference preseason poll, and joined by Jack Pagenkopf, senior guard of that men's basketball team. Got just about a minute left. We always like to do this with a quick little send-off for our student athletes. Do a little rapid-fire segment real quick. Nothing too difficult, but we always want to ask, is there a player, like maybe a pro player, college player in your lifetime that you've kind of maybe modeled your game after, maybe a favorite player in the NBA or college or otherwise guys that you've kind of modeled your game after?
Favorite player's got to be Kobe. all
Okay,
time.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
That's a good one. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Not bad.
He's okay. Favorite basketball team?
The Lakers.
The Lakers, of course, obviously, the Lakers. And then favorite venue or arena that you either played a game in or attended a game, watched a game in.
Oh, I've never been to the Staples Center.
Okay.
I went to the old Nets Arena out in New Jersey. That was cool. Nobody plays in there anymore, though. Let's see, the United Center. I'd have to say the United Center in Chicago.
That's good.
Right on. Pretty remarkable.
Good answer. So, you're a Lakers fan. Is this the year? Is this the year they're going to win it all?
I don't know.
Too early to tell.
I hope, but I'm not sold.
I mean, the trophy's coming back to Los Angeles one way or the other, right? I mean,
that might be true.
That might be true. Whether it be the Lakers or the Clippers,
Salt Lake
it's going to
City.
be, well.
Come on, let's go. We're gonna hang a banner this year.
That's what I'm hoping for, but you never know.
Oh, I mean, in up north too. We're hanging one in St. George for sure.
Right.
He is senior guard Jack Pagenkopf, and first triple double in men's basketball Division II era here at Dixie State, and the RMAC Offensive Player of the Week as the Trailblazers 2-0 get set to host a couple of games this weekend in the Burns Arena. So come see us Friday and Saturday, an opportunity to see the Trailblazers in action for the first time this season. We have got a lot more to get to on today's show, and we are going to take a break. When we come back, we continue to look at the football game and take a look around campus and what's going on inside Trailblazer athletics, as the Trailblazers have their senior day game for football against Adams State this weekend, and then a ton of basketball as well. We'll continue to break it all down coming up next on Trailblazer Weekly.